Welcome to the Euro Lounge.
We are live. Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, what's your name and what do you do?
My name's Grayson McBride. I drift cars, build and drift cars.
That's awesome. Your dad is also a mechanic.
My dad
and
got
he has
me
his
into
own
it.
shop.
Yep. He has a shop about 10 minutes from here. We're in Alliston, Ontario.
Right.
And he got me into it. Been into it my whole life, kind of slowly getting into it more and more. Decided when I was about 15, started I wanted a project car.
Yeah.
And I think it was the next day we went out and bought one, and it's kind of snowballed since then.
What was your first car?
It was a 95 Eagle Talon.
Okay.
Yeah, we drove out to Quebec at 10 p.m. one night. Went out and got it, and then just snowballed since then.
That's it. Yeah. So you do drifting.
Yes.
This is actually your car.
This is my street car, yes.
That's your street car.
Street car.
All right. So that's not your full drift car.
No, this isn't like the
No.
dedicated drift cars.
Right. It's registered for the street.
Yep, full street legal. Everything works.
Yeah.
So, street
Does
car.
he work on the track too?
We're about to find out. For the most part, it's been through multiple different engines to get to this point. So we're going to do a nice shakedown this weekend and see how it goes.
So we started off with the factory engine, and what's in it right now?
It started with an SR20. Now it has a LS1 from a Corvette.
That's fun. How was that?
It's fun. It's expensive on gas, but it's a fun engine. It doesn't break, reliable. Can't really complain with it.
So let me ask you this. I guess you're into drifting. What got you into drifting out of all the racing that you can do?
Yeah, honestly, I had a buddy around town here that kind of showed me into it. Like, honestly, a lot of it started with like Fast and Furious stuff. It was cool. I thought it was pretty cool. And then since my Eagle Talon always wanted to get into something rear wheel drive. And then a buddy of mine had a Toyota Chaser. And it kind of pushed me to get into that rear wheel drive. And ever since I went for a ride with him, it was kind of my mind switched and I had to get into it. And it was it from then.
And that's do you do any other sort of racing?
Not
Like
really.
competition?
I'd like to start doing like some time attack or grip racing, but for the most part, it's just drifting. That's
It's
all
just
been.
drifting. And do you race across Canada, US?
We're in Canada. We do a lot in Ontario here through like Grand Bend, Cayuga, tracks like that. And then the last 2 or 3 years now, we've been doing a bunch of stuff in the States. We've traveled from to events called like Grid Life in Wisconsin, Connecticut, all those kind of places.
all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're also competing in a Formula Drift licensing series, which last year we did in New York State, and then this year we'll be in North Dakota. So it's a little farther of a drive, but it's kind of a switch of pace. So
Yeah. Before we started the podcast, you mentioned that you guys are going to West Virginia.
yes, we are after
In
this.
a couple hours.
In a couple hours. After this, we're going to go button up everything on the car, get the truck
We're
ready.
holding them up.
Yeah, it's all good. I got time. It's a nice little break.
Yeah.
So, we're off to West Virginia for an event called Final Bout. It's it's like a street style kind of event with really nice setup cars and good driving. So, we're going to see how it goes. It's kind of a team event, so I have a couple of guys coming with me. And we're heading out there tonight. So,
What do you think the most important aspect of a drift car is?
a good working engine, honestly. Like you're nothing without a reliable engine. Like stuff breaks, it's inevitable, it happens, but you need to have something nice and reliable that's going to keep you going all the time. So,
When it comes to drifting, I mean, we like races, like endurance races, races that we can actually put the car through its paces, longevity speaking. And when it comes to drifting, you're always hitting a red line.
yes, you're usually red line or
Yeah.
just under red line. I'd like to keep it not bouncing off the limiter, but you always got to be up in the RPM.
So cooling is gotta be one of the most important thing on a drift car.
Gotta have some big fans on it.
Yeah.
Oil coolers, power steering coolers.
Because you guys are not moving fast.
It
per se.
depends. Oh yeah, we can get
You
going
can go-
fast.
yeah.
I think the fastest I've entered, like started a drift, was around 200 kilometers an hour.
Oh,
Yeah, like
okay.
you-
Okay.
But for so that's like a high speed kind of
yeah.
enter. But for the most part, you're anywhere from 80 to 100 kilometers an
80
hour.
to 100 kilometers an hour. Yeah,
but
yeah.
still, you're spinning the car really fast. Your revs are up there, and it's hot days, so it does get warm.
How do the transmissions handle it?
It all depends on your transmission. I personally haven't had an issue. I haven't blown a transmission. I've everything I've had has been strong so far. This car has a transmission from a 300ZX.
Factory transmission?
Factory 5-speed with
What fluid do you use?
75, 90, whatever.
Okay, just regular
transmission fluid.
gear oil.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's good enough.
Yeah, I haven't had any issues. Like I when we pulled this engine, I swapped the fluid and there's a couple chunks in the bottom of it. But so far it's been holding up. I've been driving this engine and trans setup for the last 3 years now.
Yeah.
And it's still holding up. So
What do you think, like people that are building, what do you think people overlook when they're building their own drift car?
I think a lot of people overlook a lot of like the reliability standpoint, and people try and overdo it a lot. And I think you just need to kind of put something together that's gonna work and you know will work, not overbuild it. Like build it to what you want to do, kind of thing.
We always say, like, when you're trying to build a vehicle for performance racing, whether it's street performance, bring it to stage 0 first.
Yes.
Make sure that it
Exactly.
operates properly between
Exactly.
a proper tune-up and no leaks.
Yes.
And then you work your way up from there.
Kind of start with like a more stock car.
Yeah.
And then you kind of, as you progress your driving, you can start adding things like an angle kit, a handbrake,
Right.
all of those things to kind of, so you progress with it. So you're not kind of, because sometimes they can be a handicap if you start with all of these like drift mods and stuff like that, say like a big angle kit, handbrakes, all that, then you kind of start to rely on those. And then when you get into something like more of a stock car, it's kind of a clutch and you have a hard time driving it.
Now, a big question is, because when you see cars spinning around the tracks, especially, it feels like they're 1,000 horsepower vehicles.
Correct.
Are they 1,000 horsepower vehicles?
Depends on the series, yes.
Yeah.
These cars, like a lot of the street stuff and around here, cars make anywhere from 200 horsepower to like 500. This car makes about 380 wheel.
And that's enough to keep you spinning.
More than
sideways.
enough. 200 horsepower, you're good. You can take a stock 3 Series BMW and weld the diff and go. But in the competitions we do in the States, in Pro-Am, people run over 1,000 horsepower, And you're competing with cars from, say, 400 horsepower up against cars that make 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do it. So,
And what's the benefit of, like, let's say 400 or 500 horsepower versus 1,000 horsepower? Is there a real benefit of having so much more horsepower? Because ultimately, you're still spinning. The tires are still
you're
spinning.
still spinning, but we're also, the common misconception is you're trying to spin it, but we're trying to put as much grip into the car as we can. Like, we're still trying to grip the car up, but it all depends on the track, and kind of the series you're driving. A lot of these guys in like Formula Drift, all their cars make over 1,000 horsepower, so that's kind of the bar to be set at. And big tracks like in the States, like Irwindale and stuff, it's since been demolished. But you need a lot of power on like bank tracks. Bank tracks, you need a lot of power. Yeah, because you're really, you got to stay up on the bank. And like 350 horsepower, it's not enough. Like, it depends. Like, you can make it work, but having that available power to be able to put the car where you want and accelerate to where you need to be it's nice to have.
And what in the drift world, what is the ideal engine? Is the LS the ideal engine?
It's anywhere. Everyone says something different, but it's for the most part on like a high level. It's anywhere from it's between usually LSs and 2JZs. Like JZ engines, they're reliable, they're strong.
And I guess that's what it comes down to, reliability. Make sure the engines have been tested, have gone through the test of time.
Something don't break or don't fix what ain't broken. Kind of thing. So, yeah, you can build them relatively cheap and they make crazy power. And so a lot of it's the reliability.
Yeah. Do you think like the drift scene gets a lot of hate?
Yeah, I could say it depends on. It's kind of like the skateboarders of the racing industry, but it's kind of like skid. Kind of, some people could think you're like a degenerate kind of thing because you're
just a show off.
Exactly, and you have the kind of people have the mindset of like people doing donuts and like take over stuff on the streets and stuff. And that kind of thing. People kind of think you're like hooligans and all that sort of stuff. Yeah,
but there's an art to drifting.
Exactly,
it's always so fun to watch.
Yes.
It seems different than just watching a car go around the track and it goes fast in front of you.
Yep, exactly. It's a whole different thing. Yeah. I took a buddy of my dad's drag racer, like a pro mod drag racer. like with 1,000 horsepower cars. Took him for a ride along in my drift car, and he said he'd give up drag racing any day to start doing that. It's just so much more fun, and yeah, it's just a whole different thing. It's weird when your mind's kind of programmed to not break the car loose, but the whole thing is like driving it in a controlled slide.
What's the most expensive thing about drifting?
Tires? Or depends on the car. Tires, and that's pretty well it. You're going through tires a lot.
And when you say a lot, is it one set a weekend?
Stock cars, more of a stock car, you can go through probably a pair a weekend. But when you're getting up into the higher horsepower cars, like my old Pro-Am car last year, we would go through 12 tires a day. At like 10, 12 tires a day of like a sticky R compound tire. That's like a 265 nice tires. So
what do you, since your dad has a shop, like do you guys take all the scrap tires and you throw them on the car and you go practice?
Yeah, for like practicing and stuff, we'll take all old tires we have hanging around.
The older the better.
Yeah, honestly, no. But like they're like an older tire will like air down a little more because when they're harder, they will spin easier, but you have a lot less grip.
Right.
So the whole thing is you'd think you're spinning, but you still need grip to be able to drive it correctly. We're dealers for a couple different like tire companies, and we can get them at a little better of a price to kind of help combat the expensive tire costs. So yeah.
That what you just said, that could be a big misconception that like this, you just want to be on ice, but you don't have control.
Exactly.
Actually, when you're drifting, you're fully under control.
Exactly. You need to be in
and you
full
got
control.
grip.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The car needs the grip. If it's just sliding, it's not very fast. It's a little more uncontrollable, and it'll wash out a lot easier.
Yeah. So the tires that you use for racing, are they DOT tires?
Yes. Yeah, they're like a 300 tread wear, like a race compound kind of tire. We use, it's a brand called Velino.
Okay.
It's more like a Japanese kind of tire brand, and that's what I have ran for the last 2 years now.
And how much are they?
265. If someone were to go buy them, I think they're up to about, I could be wrong, I think it's around $230 a tire now. So
$1,000.
Yes, for
Add
four.
OTAs and taxes, $1,200.
Yeah, for all four tires. And
how about the front tires? Do you rotate them regularly, front to back?
No, our fronts will get a designated set of fronts. We like the Falcon RT 660s or something like that. It's like a sticky 200 tread wear Falcon tire. I've used that since the start of my drifting, and it works, so I stick with it. But those will last us about a season for one pair, which is nice. But
Yeah.
yes.
Have you seen people at the track race a 4-wheel drive vehicle? Is that possible?
I think it
Can that be achieved?
I think it can be done, but it's not really too common around here. No.
Right.
A lot of people will take like a 4-wheel drive or an all-wheel drive vehicle and convert it to rear-wheel drive, and then kind of drive from there. So
There's a common, I think it's a B6, blue B6 in Europe, pushing about 1,600 horsepower.
Yep.
And he has it in Quattro, and he drifts in Quattro.
That's
all
cool.
4 wheels. It's more of a smoke show. Like
Yeah.
it's cool to see
Yeah,
smoke
for
coming
sure.
from all tires. So
I know
it's
it can
like-
be done. It's just not as common.
It's not as common around here, yeah. Do you think, how is the drifting world in Canada?
It's a lot smaller than America.
Mm-hmm.
The community is really nice. Like you can see in a lot of different motorsports, the communities can't always be the best. Like drag racing people sometimes can be ruder. Like it's all with drifting, everyone's kind of there to help each other. Like if someone breaks, everyone's gonna come and help you out. It's kind of like all like a community, like a family kind of thing. So, but it's a lot smaller than the States. There's less eyes, less tracks, less opportunities to drive places compared to the States. Like we'll get maybe an event a month around in Ontario here, but in the States you can go anywhere every weekend to go driving somewhere. So it's kind of on a lot smaller level than America.
Yeah. I mean, in general, we are a lot smaller.
Exactly. Everything is
But-
kind of on a tone down.
Yeah. And you want to drift, you go to the States
Exactly,
somewhere. But
exactly.
that goes about, What do you think what's your thought on the future of drifting in the GTA area, in our area or Ontario?
It's starting to grow. Like,
Yeah.
I think it was rough for a couple years. I've only been drifting for 3 or 4 years now, so I'm still pretty new compared to a lot of people. But I think it's starting to get more recognized as like a better thing, and we're starting to have more opportunities to do these things at different tracks.
Yeah.
And kind of be able to prove that we're not just like degenerate kids out here trying to screw the track and stuff up. But it's starting to get better around here.
Yeah. Well, it's generally people that are doing drifting and racing in general on the weekend. They are more respectful on the streets.
Yes,
they understand the repercussions of actually getting
Correct.
pulled over.
Correct.
And then take it to the track.
That's exactly it. If you want to go and be a hooligan and
that's right.
Go to the track. It's not worth the tickets, losing your car, your license, or possibly harming yourself or others.
It's a bad name for
bad
the car.
look, exactly. Like
industry. Like the typical the car shows that we used to go in the summertime in the city, and like somebody just does a burnout in front of everybody else, and the cops shut down the entire event.
Exactly. It screws everything for everyone. They start to think and associate that with like the drifting people. And then it kind of puts a bad name on us and kind of holds us back to do stuff.
Okay, let me ask you one question. If somebody wants to get into drifting, what car would you recommend they start with? And what modifications should they ultimately do before they get the track?
Depends on your budget. You can go, if you have like $3,000, couple grand, BMW E46s work very well. G35s,
okay,
very well, and like 350Zs. They're a little more expensive, but like on the lower end, cheap BMW or a 350Z or what you call it, G35.
G35.
Yeah.
Do they need any suspension work?
Coilovers, welded diff.
Yeah.
Go have fun.
Coilovers, welded diff.
Yeah.
Whatever tires you can get your hands on.
Correct. A seat's nice because it kind of holds you in place because you're sliding around. That's like, it's not a necessity, but it's nice to have. Yeah. And then once you start to get your car down, you can start adding things like angle mods and like a handbrake, but kind of get your way into driving before you throw everything at it. Because then, like I said before, it can sometimes kind of become a clutch in your driving. So.
Yeah, that's it. Well, Grayson, thank you very much for the time.
Yeah, no problem.
You've given us. I mean, do you have anything else to add?
I don't think so. Thank you guys for having me. It was nice. Maybe we can do it again sometime.
Of course. And where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Grayson with 2 N's, McBride with 2 E's. GraysonMcBridee. And
we'll put that on the screen.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
On the screen,
you can keep up with us there. You'll see our journey on what we're doing, building the cars, all that sort of thing. And
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for watching. If you have any comments,
thank you.